Hey Trailblazers and Tarmac Tacklers, welcome back to the Maximum Mileage Running Podcast. I am Nick Hancock, USCA and UK Athletics running coach, and I am here with
Faye Johnson, running
Yay!
coach, personal trainer, and general running lover. And I'm
Still
back.
here. You
Still
are.
here.
Well, you're not back. We are back
Yeah.
because you didn't go anywhere. It's just we've had
Just life's been busy, hasn't it?
yeah. I said on last week's episode that you'd had some stuff going on. I alluded to the fact that you've been moving house and you got new job stuff going on alongside
Yeah.
your coaching and quite frankly, just between the two of us, I was away for the whole summer and trying to quit the corporate job and go full
Yeah.
time, which I have done now. So, but yeah, we're back and we've got Matt on board as co-host, and he's doing the editing and stuff. So,
Yes.
so yeah, we'll kind of be alternating at random intervals between the three of
Yeah.
us. Um,
Absolutely.
So yeah. But yeah, it's great to have you on, Faye. How are
Yeah.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. I yeah, life is good, busy, but in a good way.
Yeah,
So yeah, I can't complain really.
yeah.
Um,
You've
enjoying
moved
the Yeah, moved as we were just discussing, back to England. Um, I mean, I haven't told the world, to be fair. So people are probably like, "What do you mean you've moved back to England?" And it's like, well, it's literally just over the border.
literally just like
Um,
you're not even on
but
the England side of the
no, I'm still on
Severn Channel.
the wrong side of the seven, as I like to say. But yeah, just more convenient for work and life's changed, and yeah, so it's all good.
Yeah,
But
change for the good because you're
yeah, for the better. So
yeah.
yeah, back in a real, not I say a real job, a job that requires going to work every day and working with a team of people, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
And it's a sports coach.
Yes, I am a sports coach now in a school, and yeah, it's kind of doing something that I probably should have done about 15 years ago,
Yeah,
but life has its way of working itself out, and I've
it
done
does.
lots of good stuff. And to be fair, probably wouldn't have been as prepared for it as I am now in my older age. So I think things happen for a reason. So yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
No, congratulations. I know you talked about it quite a few times because as much as I know as much as you love coaching, it was never, a full-time thing for you. You not that you treat it as a side hustle.
no, but
Um
things like boring stuff like getting mortgages
mm,
and things like that, I couldn't just become self-employed and still do what I wanted to do. So I had to
yeah,
be a little bit sensible.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
No, there's plenty of, even some of the best running coaches in the world. I mean, it's certainly on the other side of the pond, there's a very famous ultra running coach who coached loads of winners for like Western States and stuff that until very recently, because he's retired from that, he's still coaching. But a guy called AJ
yeah,
Williams,
yeah.
yeah, he was a headmaster in a school for 40 years, but alongside
Yeah.
that, coached some of the best ultra runners on the planet. So,
It's a really interesting one because actually, headspace wise, I feel much more in my coaching and enjoying it more
yeah,
because I'm in the right headspace. Because before my head was split between, I like to say, my day job
mm,
and my coaching, but they were so chalk and cheese.
yeah, a day job you don't
Now
enjoy. Yeah, yeah,
I'm talking the same language just in different settings with different people,
yeah,
different age groups, and it kind of works better. So yeah,
yeah. And you've got a lovely group of athletes.
I have I have a lovely group of athletes who are all working towards very different things. It's very quiet on the racing front at the moment because my particular group of athletes aren't big racers. Um, so they have target races which are a couple of months away or even like six or
Yeah,
seven,
yeah.
8 months away.
Well, there's that
Um,
classic. lull at the moment. I always call
Yes.
it that sort of November, October, November, before people start thinking about, right, London Marathon,
Yeah.
Manchester, Boston, and then there's things like UTS, you know, some of
In
the
the spring.
Centurion Ultras,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So yeah,
It's about keeping people's motivation there now
yeah.
because it's a time of year where things are cold, dark,
Mm.
and miserable, and it's getting people out the door. And just trying to keep them motivated and enjoying it. I think for me, that's the most important thing at the moment. And then you've got that thing of balancing life, Christmas,
Mm.
all the festivities that come with that. And it sounds silly, but that's like we often say is the kind of people we're coaching. We're coaching normal people who have normal jobs, lives, kids, work, you know, lots of stuff going on. So it's helping them to make it work despite everything else that's going on.
Yeah. You say that. I had an elite uh, Ethiopian marathoner reach out to me yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, it was proper random. Um,
Wow.
yeah, WhatsApp me, said, I've been searching online. I need some, help. I currently run a 2:17 marathon and a 1:03 half marathon. I'm like, okay, that's fast. Um, but respectfully, I just don't work with people like you. I
No,
just
no.
don't want to. Have no intention to. Certainly not at the moment. Maybe in 10 years. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how, you know, maximum mileage, grows
Road.
and
Yeah,
um if it grows or if I just want to keep it nice and chilled and cool because I really enjoy our little community that we've got going
yeah,
on. The WhatsApp group is lush. There's a real nice vibe about the maximum mileage WhatsApp group, and we've got a great group of people. So,
yeah, most definitely.
and with that, I'm gonna give you a shout out, like I did on Instagram yesterday. If anybody wants to join the community, Faye has a couple of spots open. I'm a bit full at the moment, but then again, I have gone full time, so I've been really banging the drum. But Faye does have a couple of spots open now. She's calmed down with house moves and
Yeah.
stuff. So if you want to get ready for, well, you tell us
Any,
what
I
are you
mean,
what are
to
you
be
coaching
fair,
people for?
currently I'm coaching people for marathons. So someone's doing Manchester. And then I've got another person who is doing the Arc 40 in January.
Yeah,
And then I've got someone else who's doing a 4 day uh, race in the lakes next year, later next year.
the
And
GTLC Grand
no,
Tour.
I've completely forgotten the name of it off the top of my head. Um, but it's yeah, a very different kind of beast to a road marathon. Um,
And
and
something
then
you're very personally aware of multi-day events because you've
they
done
are one of my most favorite
a
things
couple,
to
haven't
do.
you?
And when people ask me what's your favorite format of race, and I will say it's a multi-day race where I can eat, sleep,
Hmm.
and get up the next day and go again. That's my most favorite thing. So if you say to me, right, today, Faye, you need to run 30K, but you'll get a full meal, a bed to sleep in, and a shower, and then you need to repeat the same thing today. I'm all over tomorrow. I'm all over it. That's yeah. And I've done a few of those, one in Switzerland, one in Spain, um,
You did the Costa
Costa
Brava.
Brava. Yeah. And it just works for me. It's that thing of if I get the fuel in and the sleep in and can go again, and also tag it in a holiday as well, then it's a winner. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I'm working with people with all sorts of goals, and in amongst that there are people who've got smaller. Um, Recently, funnily enough, something I decided to do with a couple of my athletes was set them a specific target for the what was 6 weeks left of the year. Again, helping with motivation, helping people to stay focused because it is hard at this time of year. And we sat down and I said, what's currently your Achilles heel? What's your weakness at the moment? And everybody came back with something very different. One was, I just hate hills. One
Hmm.
of them was, I want to get stronger in regards to my hips, my knees, my ankles. So with that, I've set some specific strength work for them. Um, and, someone else has kind of got a bit of a multifaceted goal where they want to increase their mileage and they want to finish the year with a half marathon, like a personal half marathon.
Hmm.
And with that, they hopefully want to lose some weight so that they're in kind of better shape for the race they're hoping to do in the spring. So it's about giving them, something, specific to them that is working alongside the training they're doing. So that's worked quite well. Um, and I think that's important to kind of help people to set goals
Yeah.
along the way. Because like we said, sometimes if someone's with you and their goal is 12 months away, how can you keep them on track?
Yeah.
You know?
Breaking
Um,
it down into chunks and
exactly. Exactly.
little mini wins along the way, even if it's just, a distance based goal or,
Absolutely.
for a lot of
Or
my people, it might be time based things like I want to get my 5K down
yeah,
before I then tackle the marathon training. I'm doing quite a lot
exactly.
of that at the moment with my lot.
I mean, I'm doing that myself personally
You
because
are?
I've not got as much time now. I try and run 5 days a week, which is a bit less than what I was doing before. But I also don't have any races on the horizon. So I decided, right, this winter I'm working on my 5K and how I can improve um, my speed. And that's what I'm working on. And I'm quite enjoying it because it's such a contrast to what I would normally default to.
Yeah.
And being someone who usually hates doing anything too quickly, and people will say, well, that's ridiculous because you run quite quickly. I do, but not 5K is a horrible distance. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just thought, why try something different again to try and keep myself motivated over the winter. So yeah,
Yeah. Obviously, I still have access to your
yeah,
training peaks. So, how are you finding some of those sessions I slotted in there? Those
love
miracle
coaching as
intervals.
well. I have had to adapt them for time purposes, but how I've adapted, yeah, I they're hard. They're deceptively hard, but very satisfying when you get to the end of it and you think, actually, it, yeah, and it's nice again to do something different. Variety for me is key.
Hmm. Oh,
If I
yeah.
do something different, um, yeah, I yeah have definitely in a strange way enjoyed those sessions and have more to come. So yeah,
Yes, they are definitely type two kind of fun.
yeah,
If anybody's wondering what we're talking about, I always got my head in the research, and a lot of things tend to come out of the cycling world to start with,
mm,
because there's so much science and data and um, and tech and things going into cycling. A lot of things that come out of the cycling world, they sort of invariably end up filtering their way down, particularly into the ultramarathon side of things, because ultramarathon and things like Ironman triathlon and Tour de France and stuff, where it's multi-day, very, very long distances and time and stuff. And yeah, the miracle intervals thing is it's doing very hard intervals followed by a shorter rest and then going again and again and again. So we're talking like 30 seconds hard, 15 seconds recovery,
yeah,
which basically might as well be like a second.
nothing. May as well
Oh
be
God, I'm
nothing.
going again. Yeah, I'm going again. And it's getting that lactate up,
Yeah,
down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Help you with lactate buffering and neuromuscular adaptations as well. It's that really hard running that you do quite early on in a program. I like using them in base phases. Lots of easy running mixed in with some very hard running and not much kind of in between. It's a good time to be doing that now. If you're doing a marathon or working in the spring,
yeah,
but like you're working on your speed at the moment. So anybody who is doing a marathon in the spring, an ultra marathon in the spring, now's a really good time to be doing those short, hard intervals up to about 2 minutes in length, followed
yeah.
by half the amount of recovery. They're a bit gross, but they're good.
They are good, and you do feel good afterwards. That sounds really odd, but it's a satisfying kind of
Hmm.
session.
It's that type two type
Yeah.
fun, is it? Good. Faye, lush to talk to you. We'll introduce our guests. So we've just been chatting with, and
Yep.
this is the intro, and we've recorded it the other way around, but we've just been chatting with the lovely Paul from Soulmate in Merthyr Tydfil. There's going to be loads of people listening to this that are like, what does that even mean? Well, Merthyr
And
Tydfil is
where is that place?
yeah, what is that thing?
Yeah.
It's a Merthyr Tydfil is a town in South Wales, not far from where I was born. Historically, I think I referred to it being a turd.
Perhaps you
Um,
did. And I've
yeah, I did. That's a
spent
bit naughty,
a
really, but
number of years working in Merthyr.
yeah.
So
But
yeah, there is a
they
connection there.
Yeah, they have done a relatively good job of trying to polish things up, and Paul and his wife and team around him and family and stuff have done a great job with the shop, and we're going to hear all about it. So and you will hear this again, but if anybody wants any discount with Soulmate, that is spelt SOLE mate. Um, we'll put the links in the show notes. We do have a partnership with them. We do have a discount code if you jump on our Patreon, again, which is going to be linked in the show notes. And you can avail that discount exclusively for maximum mileage followers. So, yeah, jump on, have a listen, and speak to you all soon.
Bye.
Hello, Paul. Thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Yes, we're looking forward to talking to you and about your journey and about how we've all kind of, been
Found each
gathered
other.
here today. But I'm going to hand over to Faye because you guys have history.
We do.
Well,
Not that
well,
much, but yeah.
so yes, we do. In the sense of I first met Paul and Lucy, um, in Merthyr whilst I was working there in another job, running related. And where Lucy worked, which was in a deli, I saw Paul talking about trainers and my ears perked up. And I said, "What are you planning over there?" And that's when the conversation began. And he said he was opening a running shop. And I was like, oh my goodness. Bearing in mind that this shop was all of two doors down from where my office was at the time. And yeah, that was the beginning of what was a beautiful friendship.
Yes. Ongoing friendship as well.
Yeah,
We'll
Indeed.
see you as often as I'd like, Faye, but there we are. Life gets in the way.
I'll be coming back, don't worry.
Good, good. Yeah. So it's been a mad, where are we now? 20 months? I think it feels like I've been saying 18 months for the last 14 months.
Was it
But
March 23? It
it
was, wasn't it?
it was the 31st of March, so we could get some council funding in that financial year and then try and get some more the following year. So,
So yeah, how explain how it came about because I know at that time Merthyr was going through a period of like regeneration. They were trying to kind of bring the high street back to life because that part of town had kind of been left, hadn't it, really?
yeah. I guess, yeah, so I guess that doesn't feed into it too much in how we got it going. It wasn't kind of off the back of any kind of council request or anything like that. But
No.
um, yeah, we kind of got this idea, which I guess we delve into. But yeah, there was certain funding available, and they really helped us out with getting up and running. Excuse the pun. With things like the treadmill and
Don't say it up
mannequins,
and
and
running.
oh,
That's a
I know,
competing
it's
brand.
like a
Yeah, we
swear
don't talk
word.
about other brands, other shops.
No, bleh.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yes, they helped us out, and yeah, we are going strong.
Just tell us a little bit about Soulmate then, and like I like what. Yeah, it's great to hear like the funding was there, and
Mm.
to hear that they were trying to do something with Merthyr. Being a boy from Abergavenny, that's a bit like trying to polish a turd.
Yeah, you can't polish a turd, you can just cover it in glitter. Yeah.
But no, no, Merthyr is a much better place than it was in certainly in
Yeah.
my childhood, and yeah, it's I mean it's certainly interesting from my perspective, where so much is online now, and we'll get onto that because I
Mm.
know you guys are, but to actually have a bricks and mortar running shop, um, in the current climate was, it was interesting to hear that that was kind of in a place like Merthyr as well.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear that you were doing that, and just be honest, like, oh, certainly from at the outside, it looks like you guys are absolutely killing it, and it's
Oh, thank you.
and it's great to see. So, like, how did it all kind of come
Yeah, so
about?
I guess right, here we go then. Wind me up and watch me go, is it? Um, yeah, so I guess going back, well, 10 years now, when my son was born. That's when I started running. Kind of got into it. And it was just, it turned into that half hour or 5 minutes, or I built up to an hour out the house where it was just kind of me, myself, and I, and it sounds quite selfish, but I think we all appreciate the kind of space that it gives us for
100%.
whatever reason. And yeah, so running's kind of always been there, and I've kind of dipped in and out of it, and I've gone through phases where I don't run as much, and then I run to excess, and you kind of go through those, and it kind of ties up with the mental health piece.
Yeah.
I almost need to run at various times, and then yeah, it got to this time last year, really, this time 2 years ago, sorry, and yeah, I was still working in IT, which I absolutely loathed, and I had done for probably 10 years, 12 years maybe, and just I was paid really well, and I had a really good job, and I worked for really good companies with good benefits and all this sort of stuff, and it was just like there was no way out. Um, and then there's so much going on. And then kind of 2020, kind of went through divorce and COVID and all this sort of stuff, and just kind of reassessed life, I suppose. And we had 2 years where I didn't have anything, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. I was like, well, actually, I don't need anything. So I kind of stripped back all the expenses and all that sort of stuff. And I went, right, what do I need? And yeah, I kind of went through another bit of a down period, I guess, mental health wise. I said I was still working in IT and public sector, which amplified it 400-fold. And I was off work, and as you do when you're off sick, you think I'll book an ultra marathon because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, been there, done
So
that.
yeah, so in said ultra marathon, which is 2 years ago. Yeah, it was kind of at the top of Penavan in a. Can we swear on this podcast? I think we can. Um,
Fuck yes.
yes, fuck good, right. Yeah, top of Penavan in the pissing down rain in the middle of a storm and gale force winds, and I just thought, oh, why can't I just do this? And it was, yeah, I think that was kind of mile 16 out to 30 or whatever it was. And I just started kind of thinking, like, what on the way back to the finish line, what I could do. And it was kind of it's the same as you guys, really. It was like coaching and kind of these bouncing all these ideas around. And it was like, all these things are going to take too long to build. Like, I need a way out. I was off work at the time, as I said, and it was like, I need something quicker than that. And I thought, I'll just sell stuff. I can pull together some crappy website because, you know, I can. And we'll sell stuff. And that was kind of the start of it. And then touching on your brick and mortar piece, Nick, yeah, the brands just didn't want to know about an online retailer. I think they had their hands full with the likes of Sport Shoes and the likes of Wiggle, and a lot of other online retailers. Certainly, I think we've learned since out the back of COVID, there's a lot of stock in the market, and everyone was just kind of dropping prices to undercut each other and trying to shift a lot of old stock, and they just didn't need anybody else doing the same. So they say, well, if you want to open an account, then you must open a physical shop. And here we are, 2 years later. So that was it in a nutshell.
Well,
Absolutely. Yeah.
why did they want a physical shop?
They wanted customers to have the experience again. They wanted the advice. They wanted to be able to come in and touch the product and try it on and all that sort of stuff. And they were even quite particular about where we set up as well. And then
Mm.
obviously, I know we touched on Merthyr, and Merthyr High Street probably isn't the metropolis it once was, but they were really particular. And we thought we'd just get a £50 a week industrial unit on a estate somewhere, and they were like, no, it needs to be high street. It needs to have glass windows at the front. We want window displays. We want this, that, and yeah, very, very, very particular about what they wanted and how
Yeah,
they
I
want
guess,
brands represented, I guess.
yeah, having obviously just come back from CCC at UTMB, and
Mm.
it's all about brand activation. And
Mm.
I mean, brand activation, brand experience. The whole Hoka
Yeah.
setup was unbelievable. Like it was
Mm.
unbelievable. It was huge. It's like a chalet size, um, pop-up shop that
Mm.
had to be built. The
Crazy,
Jim
isn't it?
Walmsley there, it is about as brand activation as
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can get. And I imagine, I can imagine, they want, people to have that kind of experience. So yeah,
Exactly
okay.
that, yeah, and coming in and like we see it day to day. People come in, it's like, right, what size are you? I'm size 9, and they leave in like an 11 or something. It's just it's crazy, like, and it's just that. I think if you buy a pair of Hokas and you buy a size 9 and they're not comfortable, you're not going to go and buy another pair. Or you're not going to recommend them, and I think that's kind of what they want to get back to is that, yeah, they obviously they don't make, I guess, as much money out of it because if they sell in direct to consumer, they make a lot more than if they sell to me because I got to make my little bit on top again. But yeah, they just want that experience and they want people to get advice and to do it properly, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, I completely get that. Been there before, particularly through the whole COVID thing when, we were all running more than, we probably should have been, and going through shoes quicker than we probably should have been.
Yeah. Well,
And yeah,
some of us weren't because some of us worked at home anyway, and
Yeah.
nothing. It was weird because nothing changed for me in COVID, like work-wise, because I
mm,
was so used to working at home for the last 6, 7 years pre-COVID anyway. It was really strange. It was like 9 to 5. It was, yeah, like nothing in the world had changed for me. It was bizarre. And everyone
mm,
else was kind of running around frantically going, where do I go? What do I do? Can't I just do what you've been doing, surely? But yeah, it wasn't. They weren't used to kind of sitting in the house on their own and kind of trying to fill their own time and things like that. Yeah, it was strange time.
yeah. Um, t Tell us a little bit more about, because it's not just, we've touched on shoes, but the shop is definitely not just about shoes. I bought some shoes when I came, didn't I? But
You did. You did. Thank you very much. Much
It's
appreciated.
more than that, it's an experience. It is. And I know that sounds silly, but it is a genuine place for the community, I feel, with your shop, because it's a space that people meet. Funnily enough, and you were there for, I think there was a day that I came in, and there was about 4 or 5 of us who knew each other through one connection or another, whether it was an immediate connection or
Mm.
whether it was someone I'd worked with 5 or 6 years ago
Uh,
in a different job in a different town in Wales. And then my connection to Hannah, because I worked with Hannah when, God, going back 7 or 8 years ago when we set up Run Abergavenny, and full circle, come back, and Hannah's in your shop and you know each other, and it's like this fantastic, like,
Yeah, it is really weird
like
that people,
world.
yeah, as you say, people turn up from complete like opposite ends of the country and they just happen to walk in at the same time and they haven't seen each
Yeah.
other for a while, and it's really strange. And I think the community for us was always a big thing, with a big focus on mental health. Obviously, it was a big driver in us opening the shop, and it would have been wrong of us not to make it focused on that as well and to get people moving for the benefits that I've kind of reaped and the reason I opened the shop. It was much more than that. So we've got the community interest company, which we kind of run alongside it to raise some money for various bits. It's finding things to spend it on, believe it or not, is the tricky bit. People have been very generous in donating and kind of fundraising through events and things like that. But yeah, it's just finding the causes. Because you ask people like, do you need this? Do you need that? And the answer's always no, and we kind of offer it out. But yeah, it's there to do good. We got a pot of money kind of put aside, so when people need it, it's there for them kind of thing as well. So whether that's to pay for therapy or to, I don't know, if people need to get moving and they genuinely can't afford shoes or whatever, then yeah, that's kind of what that pot is there for.
Tell
fantastic.
us a bit more about that, Paul, because I know when I came to you back in, well, it was May last year, 2023, and we did a run during Mental Health Awareness Week.
That's right. I think it was the first social run, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, that was the first Tuesday social run.
Yeah.
And just tell us a little bit about kind of that mental health community interest part, but also how that social running group on a Tuesday has gone from, I think that first run, what did we have, like 7 or 8 people?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I
and
think
where you are now and how that is
55 2 weeks
so
ago. It's like 55 runners rock up and Nathan on a
absolutely.
Tuesday. Absolutely crazy. Um, yeah, so I think the kick or the community interest company is, as I kind of said, really it's there for when people need us or it. From a kind of financial point of view, I guess. But the social running group has just turned into a bit of a bit of a monster. We actually had a quieter turnout on Tuesday this week because of the snow. Because obviously been quite heavy snow on Tuesday
Yeah,
morning. It's quite nice they actually got around to speak to everyone because it's grown so much now that you just can't kind of spend the time with everyone. But I think like there's a few things that kind of stick in my mind, and probably going back like 6 months ago, we were on a run and kind of I think one of the girls was on her phone and I kind of jokingly said like, oh, put your phone away. We're far more important. She said, oh, my son's in intensive care kind of thing. And I was like, oh shit, like sorry, didn't know. I said, look, you didn't have to come tonight. She's like, no, no, I had to come on this run tonight. Like it was like my kind of my savior sort of thing. So there was kind of that, and then we had there's basically a new app launching recently soon, sorry, called I Love It. I don't know if you've seen us posting about it, but it's kind of like an affiliate marketing kind of app. So if you came into us and bought a pair of, I don't know, Hoka Clifton Nines and you loved them, you could put a little video review up and you would kind of link that product. And if someone saw that review and bought it and clicked the link, the order would come through to us, but they would get a kind of kickback from it. And we had the ladies that are kind of building their app and launching their app come down, and I was kind of upstairs in the shop, and two of them come up and they said, "Oh, we've just been chatting to some guy downstairs, and he said that basically you've saved his life." Like, I was like, really? She was like, yeah, yeah. She's been going through a tough time, going through a divorce and all this sort of stuff, and like without this shop and the running, like he doesn't know where he'd be. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And it's just like a couple of those little things. Like obviously that doesn't happen every week, but I think just those little things keep cropping up, and it just proves that it's a proper part of the community, and it's probably something you don't get a lot these days as a community because everyone's kind of stuck in their phone or working from home or whatever. And it feels like it is, at least from our point of view, yeah, it's something that's kind of pulling people together at least once a week. Yeah.
absolutely. And bringing people not just from Merthyr, because I remember when
Mm.
I've come in and people have said they've come over from, well, they've come over from Abergavenny, or
Yeah.
they've come over. One guy, I'm sure, said he came over from Neath, and people were making the trip to come to town and get out for half an hour, 40
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah. We
because
regularly get
they've
them
made
from.
that
Go on, sorry.
connection. Because they've made that connection with people and it gave them something to focus on. And for
Yeah.
that very reason, I remember a couple of conversations I had where they were like, "Yeah, running is my absolute savior because it's my go-to. It makes me feel better. It lets me step away from the madness of life or whatever's going on." And I think lots of people can relate to that.
Yeah, we get people from Blackwood join us pretty much every week. Neath, Brecon, and the guys that come up from Blackwood or run ultramarathons. They've done a number of ultramarathons this year, but still come and join us on the Tuesday for
Yeah,
an hour 5K. You know what I mean? It's yeah, it's purely for the conversation and the company and things like that, as opposed to the kind of fitness side of it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so
that's great.
no, it's great to see what you're doing on, see these posts on social media of how it's grown. Like every time 50
Oh,
people turn up this week. So, wow.
it is mad. Like we weren't there. Must be about 2, 3 weeks back. I think we had kind of 40 odd that week, and it was I kind of jumped on the CCTV because I realized it was 6 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I wonder how many people are there. I jumped on the CCTV, and it was like, remember that craze where there was like a guy with a motorbike helmet, and then like he like kind of
The
flicked the
Harlem
screen.
Shake.
That's the one,
Yeah.
and it was like that because it kind of gave me this like sort of frame from like well last time I looked at the camera, and then it kind of updated, and there was like 40 people in the shop. It was weird. Like the shop is absolutely rammed.
Yeah.
No, it's fab. It's really fab.
Tell us a little bit more about the services side of thing because it's let's say it's not just shoes. You're doing clothing.
Mm. Yeah, so we do, as you say, do shoes with road and trail. So we actually over 2 floors now, which is nice as well. So we got,
Oh, you've done it upstairs now.
yeah, we're like Harrod or Debenhams when it was open, one of the two. yes, we've got road stuff downstairs pretty much now. Um, we've got trail upstairs, but yeah, we'll do all the accessories. So we'll do the
I
pack.
like how trail is upstairs because road runners don't like hills.
Exactly, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. But we weirdly touching on trail, you think geographically we would be like smashing trail at the park, wouldn't you? And we still sell so little trail compared to road. It's
Mad.
yeah,
What's wrong with these
I
people?
know, but I generally think it's like a lot of it is to do with the type of runners that we deal with as well. Like a lot of
Yeah.
them are kind of either beginners up to half
Yeah,
marathon to marathon, and I think yeah, it's just it's a confidence thing with trailing it.
Mm,
Where to go, what to
absolutely.
do is too hard. I must run the hills to touch
yeah.
on one of
Yeah.
Nick's videos this week. Yeah, so I mean it's a good mix of stuff. But yeah, we I think where we opened and we had pretty much road with some road trail. Yeah, it's now we got full trail, we got poles, we got packs, we've got dry rope, God bless them. Yeah, waterproof everything. God, I think pretty much now you name it, and we've kind of got it in some form or another. Maybe not massively in depth or every brand's offering or things like that, but even got nipple guards. I mean, what more do you want? You know? But it is, yeah. We've tried, we've reinvested pretty much every single penny we've earned. Like we pay ourselves 20 hours a week at minimum wage, which is yeah, a world away from where I was prior to opening the shop. But yeah, like all the profits go back in. So yeah, we've just
Yeah.
grown and grown and grown and grown the range.
And tell us a little bit more about the online as well, because obviously, the people listening to this podcast, I know we've got people in all corners of the planet that listen to it. So if, let's say Emma up in Glasgow wants to order something from you,
Yeah.
what's kind of the process with that?
Process is head to the website. So www.soul-mate.uk. Um, yeah, anything we've got in the shop is online and vice versa. A lot of people think that yeah, we got more online than we have in the shop for some reason. I don't know why necessarily, but yeah, it's a replica of what we've got.
Well, I'm going to share some thought on that
Well,
because I did a few years ago look into in my village a shop
okay.
space, and immediately it was kind of, well, you're just not going to compete with online
Mm.
because you just you need warehouses big enough
Mm.
to store not just each model of each brand, but then all of the different sizes of each
Yeah,
model of each brand. So you could have like, five Innovate shoes at, 20 different sizes and then, three or four pairs of each size on top
yeah.
of it. So you're just never going to have the footprint. And I think that's
You know.
that's where it's actually surprised me that you said, what you see online is what we
Mm.
have in the shop and vice versa. Because
Yeah.
my assumption would have been that, you have what you can have in the shop, and then perhaps you've got a storage facility somewhere for all of the online stuff.
Wish we did. Yeah, I feel like I was on a call with someone the other day, and I was doing it because my kind of office is basically a desk in the storeroom, and they were like, "Oh yeah, so like I have a chat with your warehouse manager or something like that." Anyway, and I was just like I am the warehouse manager, and this is the warehouse. Yeah, we now have a little room upstairs for trail shoes as well. But no, I mean, going back to your point around stock and what we start. I mean, it's so expensive, right? It's. I think this is why just there's not more because yeah, as you say, you've got to have every size, and you've always like I can't even explain to you like how much it costs. It's yeah, if I wanted to go, how can I explain it? Brooks as an example. So I guess we're moving on. We're buying now for winter next year, which is another thing that blows my mind. And the fact the spring summer season is shipping in November, and the world's mad anyway. But like I put an order in for 360 pairs of Brooks next
Wow.
winter. And then you got Hoka and you got Salomon and you got Puma and you got and yeah, these aren't cheap to buy. I'm not buying these for £10 a pair either. I
Yeah,
wish
no,
I
no,
was.
no.
Yeah, and it's while I think the original point of this question is around online, wasn't it? But I think we've probably been a victim of our own success as well to a certain extent. I mean, we've grown month on month since we've opened pretty much. We had a bit of a lull in November last year, and we had a bit of a lull this month. I think it's just that
That's
post
natural,
half
though, isn't it?
term, pre-Christmas, people waiting for Black Friday kind of few weeks. Um, where's I going with that? Where's I going? Where's I going?
I do this all the time. Don't worry.
I got it. Yes, sorry,
Yeah,
victim
go
of
on.
our own success. So yeah, we have kind of gone right. Poker, give me a Clifton in a actually going back a step from that. When the brands first came in, they were like, right, you need a size 8 to a size 11. Like we found that actually you probably need a 7.5 for a men up to a 12. We're stocking some 13.5s now. But historically, we've kind of gone like, oh, we'll take a 7.5, 8, 8.5, two nines, two 9.5s, two 10s, 11, 12. And it's just not enough now for like the popular shoes, the Cliftons of the world. We just sell
Yeah.
so quick, and a lot of the brands have kind of um, because of all the post-COVID stuff where they were stuck with a lot of stock, are buying a lot lighter now. So mid-season, in between your pre-orders, there's not a lot of stock to go around. So we're selling through, and we just can't get any more stock. So like we potentially online, we could be selling another 50 pairs, 100 pairs a month, which would make a massive difference to us, but we just can't get the stock. Um, yeah, but I mean, I'd rather sell through and not get the stock than be stuck with stock.
Mm.
So it's taking, no, we're taking a bit of a punt next year, and we're ordering. Now we're going crazy. We're ordering twos and threes instead of ones and twos. But it is that like you cannot order 10 sizes. Oh, sorry, 10 of every size and five different colors. The cost is just and we get it. Oh, have you got this in a different color? We'll do
Mm.
gait analysis, which I guess we touch on now, but we'll find someone the perfect shoe, but they want it in pink. And we've only
Yeah.
got black. It's so frustrating, but it is what it is.
I've come to learn just to not worry too much about the color.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, and some people say it, and they generally want to mean it. Like, I don't care, but it's got to be the right shoe for me. And then you kind of get them the right shoe, and they're like, "Oh, have you got any other colors? I really don't want black. It's like a school shoe or whatever." But yeah,
Yeah, I kind of get that with black. Yeah, yeah. All black.
yeah.
I kind
But
of
then
get, but
people love a triple black for some reason, though. But yeah,
mm.
I guess it crosses across the lifestyle, and these are the same people who are wearing Vaporflies in Tesco. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Nice and Tesco. Yeah, I can see
You
that
know
in
it
there.
happens. You know it
Yeah.
happens.
Yes, you said the G word, the GA words, gait analysis.
Oh yes, okay.
We've had some discussions on this in the past, haven't we? And
We have, yeah, a
my
couple of comments back and forth.
my distaste for a certain running brand shop that say they do gait analysis,
Yeah,
but they don't really,
yeah,
because it
I
certainly.
think, yeah, I'd like to pep in here because being someone who in their past life has been Paul and done gait analysis and sold trainers, and it's a really tricky one because like everything, there are some proper cowboys out there
mm,
who one don't know what they're talking about, two just want to sell a shoe. Oh rubbish, stop it, Paul. And three, they just talk absolute rubbish. I'm being polite. But it's finding the people that know they're in it for the right reason. And like Paul said, many a time you spend maybe an hour, couple of hours sometimes with an
mm,
individual, and you've got six pairs of shoes lying around the floor. And then they go, a couple of things. I'm going to have a think about it. And
yeah,
you're like, oh my God, you're going to have a think about it. Or, oh, you just not got the right color.
I know.
And then you know they're going to walk out that shop and buy it online, and it just kills you a little bit inside.
Yeah,
Or they go to another retailer, and you're like, yeah.
yeah,
But it's such. I think it's become such a hot topic, and can be so misleading if led by the wrong person.
Mm.
If that makes any sense, I'm trying to be quite diplomatic and
Yeah, I
you
get
know
where
what
you're
I
coming
mean.
from because, like, for me, gait analysis and trying some shoes on are two very different
Yes.
things.
yeah,
And you know what? Go to Runner's Need, go and try some shoes on. Runners Need are probably doing all right, but don't go into Soulmate and Merthyr Tydfil, little independent retailer trying to do amazing things for the community. Try a bunch of shoes on, and then go and order online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
all the time. I think it's. I think it was Simon Sinek. It just like people of a certain age, I guess, yeah, younger than us, unfortunately, um, are kind of that on-demand
Yeah.
thing, aren't they? Like they want to watch a film, they get it now. They want to buy something this year, like
They
it's
want
something
everything
now with Amazon. It's
yesterday.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think they just, yeah, it is just that thing. Well, that's the one I want, and I want it now, and it,
mm,
we're never going to get away from that. But I think go back to gait analysis. One of the driving things I think when we opened the shop was that we didn't visit any other shops. I hadn't been in a running shop for years. We just had this kind of vision of what we wanted, and we just kind of went and did it. And I remember Brooks asking me because I was trying to chase Brooks to get an account open, right? And they would not respond to my emails. They wouldn't like couldn't even find the name of someone. Managed to find this guy who was like head of sales on LinkedIn, so I hounded him on there. Um, I think he finally replied saying, send me an email. I sent him an email. He didn't respond to that. And then I walked up to him in the running show. I didn't know it was him. And I said, oh, I'm looking to speak to Matt, should we call him? Because that's his name. And he went, oh, it's me. So I went like, oh, brilliant. Right then, come here. But like, I remember him saying to me in the show, like, so it's like, what's the kind of vibe going to be in the store? Are you having slat walling? I'm like, what's slat walling?
mm,
Like, oh, we said the wall where you kind of slot the shelves in. It's like, oh no, we're in brick, like we go in like full kind of boutique look, if you like, proper retro industrial. And yeah, we just didn't do it like any other shop, I don't think. And the same happened with gait analysis at the same show. Funnily enough, we saw a system called, let's get this right, Run Easy at the time. Which is more driven at physios. It was done on a belt basis. It's really good tech, to be fair. There's a sensor that sits in the belt that measures hip alignment. Um, we had some issues with it from a retail point of view, in that it was so sensitive to that belt moving, and not all customers are built equally. And yeah, some are different shapes to others. And yeah, it would sit lovely on some people and it would move on others. And it just, and of course, you move the belt, then it's like, you try another pair of shoes, and it's like, right, is the shoe the change here? Is that the
mm,
variable that's made this better? Or is that belt positioned better, and a couple of those things just started to creep in. But it was like for me, still streets ahead of an experience. I wasn't going to mention them, Nick, but in Runner's Need, where you go in and you stand on what's it called, the volumental system,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just like
But
I don't.
even some of the stores that have treadmills, they
Mm,
call it a gait analysis, and it isn't really. They've stuck a camera behind the treadmill, filmed you, and then gone, see, look, you overpronate. You need stability shoes. I mean that
yeah, so
It's
this
hey,
this is
yeah.
what my pet hate is with
No,
the whole gait
totally.
analysis thing
yeah.
is, are they incentivized on selling? In fact, I saw on YouTube the other day, because you do have a YouTube channel that you
You do.
talk about the science of stability shoes.
Mm.
But in the real practical applicable world, how many people would you say, like out of 10, how many people do you say, right, you need stability shoes?
Um, so we will. So again, I guess going back to when we put the original order in, we were led a lot by brands. So not picking on them, but let's take Mizuno as an example. The
Throw them under the
yeah,
bus.
yeah. The Inspire
You're
is
going to
their
be selling Skechers only at this
I
point.
know, I
If
know.
any of these brands are listening,
No, right. What's the word? I'll cover this off. It's not a dig at Mizuno, right? But the Inspired is their best-selling shoe, right?
yeah,
We met them last week, and it's still their best-selling shoe. We couldn't sell it because our gait analysis was data-driven. People just scored better in a non-Inspire, should we say? But we generally find if you stick somebody in a wider base shoe, they generally get better stability than something with a guide rail. Like
yeah,
you're never going to change somebody who comes in and has worn adrenaline since year dot. They want an adrenaline, right? So we've kind of got to have those shoes in stock, and they are good. Obviously, they do what they say. But yeah, I think the science and the research has changed a lot, which again was kind of based on our decisions to which is why we based the decision to go the way we did with the gait analysis stuff historically. And you said then, Nick, that the reason that people put cameras behind is based on old research of that ankle moving or collapsing in,
Yeah.
Mm.
giving you a stability issue. Whereas the tech that we moved on to now, which is new system called Run Right. Um, there's two cameras kind of either side of you that build a 3D model, but it measures, oh sorry, it looks at your ankles, your knees, your hips, your center of mass. It measures things like how much bounce you do, what your ground contact time is, how quick the foot comes back, things like that. So we do the video still on our phone because people want to see them because it's,
Yeah.
but the tech, like, we don't need to do it. Like,
Mm.
you know.
You're quite right though, Paul. The not the research and the I guess the information available to the wider world now is much greater than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, if you happen to just be a retail shop assistant and you were working in a shop where you sold um, trainers. I worked with a couple of absolute crackers over the years who had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they literally walk around the treadmill, make a few noises, and then pick the most
Interesting.
popular shoes. Interesting. Ooh. Mm. And then they would do the classic thing of, if there was the tiniest bit of, might I say, pronation, not even over
Yeah.
pronation,
Yeah.
um, they would go, right, I know exactly the shoe for you. And
Yeah.
it would be one of the most supportive shoes we had on the shelf.
Yeah. So
And I'd be like, yeah, absolutely shocking.
crazy. There's two that come up day in, day out. So I can remember DW Sports. Um,
Yeah.
so it was JJB, wasn't it? Turned into Dave
Mm.
Whelan Sports, and then eventually got bought up by Sports Direct. But I had my first gait analysis there. And people come in now and I start, have you had gait analysis before? And they go, yeah, yeah, I went to the one up on the retail park. And I was like, oh, did they sell you an insole? They're like, yeah.
Yep.
No. How do you know? And it's like, well, because you went there. That's what I know. Because I found out afterwards they were incentivized on upselling an
Yep.
insole to get a
Because
shoe.
you are incentivized in bigger retailers. And
Yep.
I mean, I spent a good 10 years of my working life in retail of various forms,
Mm.
and it's an add-on. So it's like you sell a shoe, you sell an insole. Oh, and if you're lucky, add on a bit of trainer cleaner for extra bonus points or a
DW
little
bar spray. Yeah.
you know, absolute winner. And
Yeah.
that is how they're trained to sell in those larger retailers,
Yeah.
even today.
The other one that cracks me up is, I mean, it's closed now, but Running Become in Cardiff as well. Where I go like, oh, gait analysis, yeah. Where did you go? Oh, I went down in Cardiff. So did they get you to run up and down the street? Yes, yes, they did. Okay. Was that the cobbled street on match day when you're dodging Dave and his kebab and his pint? Yeah, yeah. Did he tell you to go over for an 8? Yes, they did. Yes, of course they did. It's like, oh my God, and it's just, yeah,
Yeah,
it's bad, isn't it? It's bad. But as you say, I get that a lot of people, as you say, are on Saturday jobs. It's just a job.
yeah,
It's a couple of hours on a Saturday. They go home. They don't think about it. It's not like for us. It's ours. You know,
it's
we
life.
do shit. And we don't care what shoe you take either. Like I know certain like people have said to us the certain shops, so I feel like they were pushing this brand on me or whatever they had to clear. Whereas if somebody wants something off the sale rack with us, if that's the best shoe for them, I'd rather them just take that and run injury free.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Do you know, you know, we are obviously maximum mileage coaching, so I was like people to kind of learn something from
Mm.
from the podcast and something to take away. And like for me, this is kind of that massive takeaway of just be a bit careful if you go into a shop for a gait analysis. Are they really doing a gait analysis? Do they actually know what they're talking about? Um, or are they just getting you to try some shoes on? And if you get sold insoles, that's a big major red flag, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. That whole pronation, over pronation thing that we've been hammered with for years is a very natural part of the spring loading of the foot.
Yeah.
You've only got to look at there's an amazing video of Eliud Kipchoge. And I mean, 20 years ago, the entire world would have gone, "Oh my God, he
Yeah,
overpronates massively."
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
best marathon run of all time. You can just see that it is that spring loading of the foot, and it's almost like a twist into the ground and back out again.
Mm. Yeah, there's a photo
That's
of Matthew Rees, the Welsh runner on Instagram.
yeah,
And there's a photo on his grid that I always bring up when people are asking about pronation. And it's not even him, it's the guy behind him. But obviously, if he's just behind Matt, he's pretty quick himself. And like, yeah, he's almost like on his ankle. And it's like, look, this
Mm.
guy's running a, sub 1:15 half marathon probably. It's fine, you know,
yeah,
don't worry about it.
yeah. I think if it's kind of you go and get a gait analysis, and the shop says, "Do you get any niggles, any issues?" I mean, that's a great question for them to be
That's
asking.
a
So
good start.
if you get
Yeah.
asked that, and you're like, "Well, yeah, actually, the inside of my right knee hurts," or "I've got
Exactly.
plantar fasciitis," or whatever it might be, or I get a bad hip, or whatever. That I think that is a pretty good case for them to say, "Well, I'm not going to diagnose you, but do you see a physio? What sort of what are you kind of doing about that?"
Yeah.
I think that's a really
One of the,
good,
one of the first things we ask as well is just say, have I had it before? Why are you here today? Is there any injuries? You
yeah,
just new shoes, kind of, and you just kind of, yeah, again, going back to our whole kind of approach, really, it's we'd never done it before. Like I said, Lucy had kind of from a background of dentistry and worked in the deli just before we met Faye, and then I was in IT, obviously kind of a keen runner, but it's just listening to people and like you just spot the patterns. Like we have the same conversations day in day out, and like we'll argue. I'm not going to get into it now, but like about plantar fasciitis and things, and I've had people coming in going like, "Oh, this drop helps me," and I go, "Oh, I think you want this
sure.
drop instead." Um, and yeah, but it's experience, isn't it? If I've got 10 customers a day telling me that they've moved to a particular drop or a particular shoe and it's helped with plantar or whatever, then yeah. Anyway, again, trying not to argue myself here, but no, it is just listening to customers, and I think, yeah, it's such a massive part of it.
Yeah. Faye, any other questions before we start to wrap up from you?
Oh,
No,
just
I was just going to say, what's ahead for you guys? Have you got anything planned? You've obviously launched the YouTube channel,
we
um,
have.
which is fantastic.
Huh.
Anything else that you've got coming up?
I don't think so. I mean, at the minute, I'm doing the shop, the social media, the marketing, the YouTube channel, the podcast, the run club. Um, yeah. I mean, there's expansion, I guess.
I was
But
going to ask you about that. Is there, if the brands want bricks and mortar, are we going to see
I mean,
soulmate caution?
caution, probably not. Um, yeah, possibly. I mean, very, very early days, but yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be a limit on where we can take the physical store Merthyr in terms of what we can hold and what footfall we get. Because again, we don't rely on town centre footfall necessarily. 'Cause I
No.
think if we did, we would have shut 18
Yeah,
months ago probably.
Yeah.
But we get
Yeah.
so many people from outside, and we get people
Mm.
from as far as Narberth up to north of Bilthwell's coming in pretty much weekly. It's crazy. Going from
I've even recommended people in my local area because
thank you.
okay, it's going to be an hour and a half
Mm.
drive over to you guys, but I'd rather make the hour and a half drive to you than the half-hour drive to a certain one near
You've mentioned
here.
twice already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's going to be a ceiling. Uh, I mean, a second shop would. Um, going back to the stock point, obviously, if I've got 100 pairs in shop A and I've got 100 pairs in shop B, that's 200 pairs I've got online.
Mm,
I mean, there's obviously benefits to the scaling horizontally to kind of funnel up into the online and have more stock available online.
yeah,
Or we just keep chucking more money at Google for the Google ads, which is costing me a small fortune.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah. I
I mean,
bet.
it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? I mean, Google ads is yeah, it's just a necessary evil. Unfortunately, I much rather
Yeah,
do it organically, and so we're well, I was hoping today, but probably tomorrow now, kicking off kind of Black Friday officially. And by doing that, I mean we're sending an email. Uh, but yeah, but it's something that we've not really done. Again, going back to all my multiple hats, I guess, is not something that we've just done. Is kept on top of existing customers. We've constantly pushed for sales and not like in store, great, but yeah, targeting those people. But actually, I'm going to mention this before we do wrap up. So how random is this, right? So Carla, we kind of got through all those 200 back in May, was it May, June? So we managed to, through the kick, we managed to get him a free place. We managed to fund him for kit and some nutrition and things like that. So he went off and he did his crazy 200 mile jaunt. He started another one today, the
Sure.
Copthorne 200.
Yeah,
Th-
Copthorne. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, 30 entrants.
yeah.
So,
Bonkers race. Just
yeah,
laps.
yeah, it's 20 mile loop, is it? 10 times?
Yeah, yeah.
Terrific. Anyway, yes, we started selling to this guy in Kent called Darren. We call him Darren because that's his name. Um, and he's bought a few bits of us. He's probably our most frequent, like non-local customer. He's bought like 5 or 6 times of us in the last few months, which is like where we want to get to it. And I think trying to get that in-store experience across online as well is the tricky bit. But he just loves the service, and he even come back and bought some of our Don't Die socks that we released recently. Um, and we shipped these socks out, and he stuck them on his Instagram, and he said, "Oh, this is the advice I'm going to give myself when I'm running the Copthorne 200." So out of 30 entrants now, we've got like 2 people that we're kind of
Oh,
customers of ours who have now probably met each other on the same race. Isn't that
Yeah.
nice?
see, what a great bringing together of people.
Yeah, yeah. So we've kind of introduced them via Instagram, and yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully they'll share some miles, I hope. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of miles with Copthorne. It's
Oh,
that's a brutal, brutal
yeah. It's
race.
quite a big cut off. 'Cause I think he finished Wild Horse in 80 hours. I think the cut off for this is 72 with more elevation. So
Yeah, there's a lot of elevation at Copthorne.
yeah, he's got his work cut out, I think.
Yeah. Well, good luck to him.
But yeah, no, yeah, thanks for having us, I guess, or having me.
No, no worries. I'm not
But
kicking you off yet. Don't
my
worry.
thing.
Not kicking you off yet.
Good. Okay, we carry on. Part two.
How do people find you? You've already said the website, which is Soul, as in SOLE, not
Cleverly.
yeah, clever.
Yeah.
SOLE, as in shoe sole, dash mate.co.uk.
Oh, .uk. See, common misconception.
Ooh, dot
Yeah,
UK.
yeah.
Right,
The guy
okay.
keeps trying to sell me the .co.uk because he keeps getting emails from me, but I mean, they're obviously
Well,
nonsense.
I'll put the link in the show notes
Yes,
anyway.
please do.
And where else are you? Where else can people find you?
Facebook, Instagram. I mean, I'm trying to do TikTok, but I'm 42 now. I got no chance of I. Um,
I'm 42 and I'm on TikTok.
yeah,
Get Hannah
I'm
on it.
on TikTok. It's just trying to do it.
Hannah's got TikTok written all over her.
Oh,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Hannah's got a lot of things written all over her, but it's trying to get her to focus on one of them is the tricky bit.
Love you, Hannah.
Yeah,
Love you.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
Hannah have a
Yeah.
book?
Funnily enough, she's probably on her way to Reading at the moment to crew Carl because that's the kind of thing she
Uh,
does.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't Hannah
yeah.
have a book?
She does have a book called No Run Intended. Well worth a read, actually. She talks
Yeah.
about shit herself in Gavin Walker's car. Yeah, as Hannah does.
She's an absolute legend, is Hannah.
No, she is. She's taking the kids to Lapland this year. They do know, she's not a surprise.
Oh, thank God for that, because you
And
ruined their dreams.
yeah, yeah. Wait till they find out Santa's not real. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta pay for Lapland now, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and this is expensive." And then the next minute, she's booked a flight to go and crew Reece Jenkins and Nick Lyons in a race in Florida next year. She's like, "But I'm 40." She's like, "Right, okay." She's like, "Right, I'll pencil the time out, Anne. You go." No, she's brilliant, but yeah, she's Hannah, and
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
spirit can call her. I think the first time I saw her, yeah, 'cause again we've known each other years. I saw her share a photo of Kipchoge, I think it was, on a treadmill doing a VO2 test for like, mask tubes, and then it was her in the local leisure centre with a snorkel and a mask on next to it, and he was like, "Who is this girl? We need to meet." Yeah. But no, she's been good for us. I think she introduced us to Welsh Athletics actually just before we opened, and obviously we kind of do all the Welsh Athletics kind of distribution, I guess, and Run Wales, which is the social arms. We do all of that. So, I mean, yeah, I could talk for hours really, but yeah, things keep popping in. But yeah, anyway, I'll
Yeah.
stop.
No, it's great to see, yeah, just how you've grown Soulmate so quickly. I can't believe it's only 20 months.
Mm,
That's quite incredible. Really
yeah,
incredible.
speaking to, I don't know if you know Jonathan Midwood, who runs the Running Industry Alliance.
I was gonna say another name. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think he used to be like MD at Up and Running, maybe, or something at Up and Running many moons ago.
Right.
Anyway, it's all very incestual. But I remember him a few months back saying, like, oh, if you're hitting a certain kind of revenue every month as a small independent, you're doing like exceptionally well. And we're like 200% over that.
Wow.
So I think, yeah, it's been absolutely nuts. But we've worked hard, like, it hasn't just happened, and we've put a lot into it emotionally and time wise and money wise. And yeah, I kind of said today to Lucy, I said, if this doesn't work out, we lose the house, right? And it's like, be fine, be fine. Because the banks don't lend you money anymore. I don't even know this. The banks
No.
don't lend businesses money anymore. They lend businesses money with a personal guarantee,
Ah,
which is even more of a risk. So I think, again, going back to the point of why didn't more people do this or whatever? I think
yeah.
yeah, it's a risk, but it was, I mean, like full circle here, perhaps, but I got to the point where like it was a risk I was willing to take, kind of thing. It was like, what was the alternative?
Mm.
Yeah, it fully got to that point. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I share your sentiment on that. I've gone full time now with maximum
Yeah.
mileage, and um, it's a big leap. I went from a very well paid corporate
Mm,
job, but you're smiling. I'm smiling. We
absolutely.
must,
Yeah.
we must be happy, even though we're
Yeah. So,
much poorer.
actually, so going back, right? So we opened the 31st of March, 2023. So I was still full-time employed, hadn't resigned
Oh, that yes.
at that
I
point.
remember those days.
And my genuine plan was to build it, and we would, so dog's crying to go out, was to build it and eventually leave. And so Lucy would run the shop, I would work from home, i.e. the shop in the office, and kind of dip in and out as and when I needed to, if I needed to. Um, and yeah, so I kind of booked the first week of April off. We opened, went really well. Um, and yeah, during that week, my boss kind of added me on Facebook because it had been all over Wales Online, all this sort of stuff that we'd opened this shop. And yeah, I had a conference call invite for about half hour before I was supposed to start work on the first day back. And they were like, oh, okay, we've seen you open this shop. And yeah, can you please now come in the office 3 days a week? And I was like, no, I quit. It took me, yeah,
Fair play.
minutes to decide. And he was like, do you know what? If it's same with you with the coaching, I thought if it's going to fail, it's not going to be because I haven't put everything into it and
Yeah,
done it half-assed. I mean, yeah, you've got to do it. You've got to take a leap of faith. Yeah,
you do. You do. Life's too short.
it is indeed.
Fair play, Paul
Thank
and
you.
Lucy and Hannah and everybody else who's been involved with Soulmate.
Don't thank Hannah.
Thank her for the laughs on Instagram.
Thank her a little bit. No, no,
Yeah.
she's grand. She's grand.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Right, mate.
We will put links to everything in the show notes, and just we have partnered with you. There is a little maximum mileage discount,
It
which
is.
for anybody who wants to avail that, if you just join the maximum mileage Patreon, there's two tiers. There's a free tier and there's a paid tier. The paid tier's got some extra stuff behind it. But yeah, you can jump on the Patreon and you can get some discount at Soulmate in store and online.
I know we do it all.
Yes,
Do it all.
yes, you do. Paul, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks,
both.
Paul.
Got to catch up as always.
Cheers.
You too.
Thanks for listening to the Maximum Mileage Running podcast.
You can find more out about us at maximummileagecoaching.com. If you think you need help with your running and you think that either myself or Faye could be the coach for you, then drop us an inquiry. No obligation whatsoever, and we'll have a chat with you about your running. And there's plenty of resources on the website as well. And don't forget, you can join us on the Maximum Mileage Running Podcast Facebook group. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.